Okay, this is a cold start of the 1986 Porsche 944 Turbo 951. It's got 86-ish thousand miles on it. It hasn't been started in 3 months. Been sitting here as I pulled the interior out, so I'll get a cold start of it, let it warm up, and then get a little bit of video of the engine running. No smoke. It doesn't seem to burn any oil. It seems to do really well, really. The gas tank's almost empty, but it does have fresh gas in it. You can hear there's a ticking noise. One of the lifters sticks, and it goes away if I run the thing a little bit, drive it around, get the oil warmed up. It's just got fairly old oil in it. One thing you can see here, oil pressure is really good. It's the way these things typically are when they're cold started. You end up pegging the gauge out. It does drop down once everything's warmed up. Alternator charge as well. I've got 14 volts on the cluster. The one thing that doesn't work, and I don't know if it's because the interior is not in the car or if there's something else wrong, the tachometer doesn't work. The boost gauge does work. So it's 84,000 miles actually. I'm gonna let the thing warm up a little bit, and then I'll do a really short drive video. Obviously it's a parts car, so I can only go around the neighborhood, but I'll get some footage of it. Okay, so I've let it idle a little bit, drove it around the neighborhood a couple times just to bring the coolant temperature up. It is now holding coolant temperature and pressure. I don't think it leaks at all, not anything major at least, but I will check as I pull the engine out. Obviously it's pretty cramped in these 951 engine bays, so the engine really sounds quite good. There are some cracked hoses, which again I'll point out in more detail once I get the engine pulled out, but once the oil's warmed up and the thing's pumped up, hasn't been sitting for, you know, months at a time like it has before this, the lifter ticking goes away. So I expect a good oil change would take care of that, and just a little more use. The car's been sitting for the most part since 2013, and it's currently 2020, so 7 years of sitting with no oil pressure. So yeah, as you can hear, it idles real nice. All the noise that's really there is just the noise of the injectors. It sounds really, really good. So walking around, you'll see the reason that the car is totaled has nothing to do with the engine. It got hit really, really hard in the back, and everything is bent up, pushed forward. The drive line is totally fine, but obviously the body is not repairable. So, and as we're sitting here, let's see, I'll come up here. You can see oil pressure still looks really good, running right around 4 bar. That does come down once the thing's been running a bit, but I can't run the thing long enough or hard enough in the condition it's in to give you a good idea. But suffice to say, it does have good oil pressure. Voltage is still good. Coolant temperature is still good. I don't know why the gauge bounces. I'd expect I've probably pulled a ground off somewhere that it needs for reference, but it does run just fine, and it doesn't overheat. The fans do work, as does the auxiliary coolant pump after shutdown. But hopefully this will give a decent shot of what the thing looks like, just exhaust wise, to prove that there's no smoke. I'm not going to beat on it hard. I don't have a tack, and I don't know how old the timing belt is, but it's at least 7 years old. So I'll just drive it, normally get it into boost a little bit at low RPM. You can see what it looks like. temperature is great. The thing's been running for probably half an hour now between driving around a little bit and just letting it idle, letting it get all warmed up. I don't like getting in the boost at all until the coolant temperature's up. Obviously I have almost no gas in it because I had to drain the fuel system out. Oil pressure still looks really good. It's hovering right around the 3 bar mark after idling and driving up and down the road a couple times. So really good. The tach still doesn't work, but everything else does really, really well. Allegedly, this engine has a big turbo on it. I don't know what that means. I was told it was off of a 951 Turbo S, which would be the slightly higher performance 250 horsepower car. I was also told that it has some ECU modifications and that it should be somewhere in the 300 wheel horsepower range. Now, that's from a previous owner. I have no way of verifying that unless I find some stuff when I start taking it apart. But that's what I've been told. Okay, so one thing that I didn't do was a hot restart video. Forgot about that. So I'll do that now. So the engine is warmed up, and just to show oil pressure and boost gauge, everything works as it should. Okay, I'm gonna do one last video. This is engine warmed up, accelerating. The camera is directly over the exhaust tip. So this should better show any smoke or anything out of the exhaust, which I don't believe there is any. And again, the engine is fully warmed up for this.